Welcome to this quick session on Jenkins installation on GCE. This is a demo. We'll quickly go through all the steps and see how can you quickly install Jenkins and run your first automation job right on Google Cloud Platform. So we'll quickly get started here. So currently, as you can see, these are the VMs out there. This is an old instance that is sitting out there. We'll create a new one, Jenkins VM1. So what we'll do is we'll follow all of these steps here. We'll spin up a VM. We will install some prerequisites. Then we'll install Jenkins. We'll configure Jenkins because it will need some credentials, etc. And then we'll hook it up to GitHub so that you can get your repositories downloaded to do all of your automation needs. That's how it works in production. So we'll do all of these 10 steps like in quick few minutes here. So let's get going. So what I'll do here is I have my Terraforms ready on creating that instance. So we'll quickly go in there, and I have my code. The Terraform scripts are ready right here. I'll quickly go in here and we will go ahead and do our Terraform plan and then apply first. So let's do a quick plan here to really see what this really is going to do. So give me a quick minute. Yeah, right there. So that's your plan. Basically, that's looking into this folder, and it has we went in here, so it has these this and the Terraform script sitting here. It's using a Terraform module, and then it's telling you that it'll go ahead and create one. So we'll quickly go ahead and just apply the Terraform script here. So let me just grab this and go ahead and install. It will spin up a quick VM. So let's wait for it. It should be coming up here shortly. And what we'll do meanwhile is, we are done with the step number one. Now we'll get into that new VM that we just spun up and go about installing all the prerequisites and Jenkins. So let's see, that VM is coming up. Let me refresh. Let me make sure it's coming up. Yeah, this tells me that this is complete. This should be completing soon. Yeah, so currently, if you click on this external IP, nothing is going to happen, but we'll soon make it work. So now what we are going to do is, let me open that README file right here as well. The README is sitting here, yeah, right here. So now what we'll do is, let's SSH into the newly created VM. And the way you do that on Google Cloud is just take that command, make your life easier. Don't need to remember a lot of things. You should be able to just find stuff. So that's, now we are SSHing into the newly created CentOS image VM that we created. As you can see, we are here. What we'll do is we'll create some of these dependencies. You want to use sudo because you want to be rooted while installing these. So I will do this. We'll need some of these dependencies because wget is by default not on that CentOS image, and we'll be using wget here to get the Jenkins package, and that's why it's necessary to install wget. So that's done. Now let's go ahead and install Git because we will be hooking up our Jenkins instance with Git as well. So for that purpose, Git is needed. Now we have wget and Git, and now we just follow these steps. And I have a blog on medium.com, and I have my SRE repositories on Nginx. On GitHub as well that you can look at. So these are the quick steps. The steps are sitting right here. That's what we are following here. So let me get quickly going to now getting started with installing Jenkins on this. So let me do the first step here. Just copy this, paste this here. Just make sure you're copy pasting right as if you're following the instructions. So this is done too. Now you want to install Java as well because Jenkins will need Java as well for it to be running successfully. So that installs. Once that is done, we'll go about installing Jenkins thereafter. So give it a few seconds here. Wonderful. Now you install your Jenkins. Let it complete for it'll be over quickly. All right, it is doing it. Yeah, it's done. So we have done pretty much everything. Just reload once so that everything is fine. All right, so now everything is done. Let me just quickly see and run Jenkins here. Now we have run the Jenkins on that VM that we just spun up. It is running now. Now, this is the admin password. That's what we will need for to log in as admin in Jenkins the first time. So you copy that password here. And now what we can do is now this external IP link should work. Well, it's not working because, yeah, it will need to, it listens on port 8080. So let it just run once here. All right. So let me, all right. We are right here. Let me just pull that VM again and do a quick run there. All right. So that's the one. And we want to go port 8080. Yep, there you go. So we got our port. We have the admin password here. We do a continue. Now it gets us in. No, I don't want to do this. Just go ahead with the, no, you can select either if you want to select your plugins. I would just keep it simple and go with install suggested plugins here. Go with the suggested ones. It'll take a few seconds here to install all of this for you. Take a quick look. We have come all the way here. Now we are at step number 5. We are configuring and logging in using our admin password, and we'll be creating a user that you will use further. Now, after you do all of this, you can quickly write your automation jobs really well, but then you need to be able to hook up to GitHub, and that's why steps 6 through 9 are needed, and we'll go through those real quick here. Let it complete its installation. I think it's close. Let me get there soon, and then we'll go ahead with completing the remaining steps. Um, I'm going a little fast, maybe, but if you need to just pause the video, please feel free to do that to follow along. Okay, I'll create users here. Admin, say I am doing SRE terminal is my user. Password is the password, and say full name is this. Giving a real email. I don't know whether that might create an issue if it is not a real email. All right, so that's, I'll just save that. That's our URL. That's what we have logged on to. Save and finish. Now we have one user SRE terminal there. Now I can very well go ahead and just start using Jenkins. Okay, all right. Let's quickly get going and write our first automation job. I have a quick job sitting here. In this, I'll just copy paste this entire thing, and I will go ahead and we'll write a quick job. We'll say pipeline. That's our automation pipeline, the first one that we are writing. And I'll say this is simple. Oh, I don't want any cashback. All right, tests. Then say I'm building a couple of parameters here as well. Let me just do this parameters. Environment, say dev QA. You don't need to do these as well. I'm just building the ground for the next steps that we will be following here when we connect with GitHub. So that's what I'm building this for. So let me build this. I'll just say select environment. Then I'll add one more parameter. I'll make it a string parameter and say this is the test file, because the way I've written the Groovy script, that's a test script. What that does is it runs three stages. Prints hello world in the first stage, takes these input parameters that we are supplying from the Jenkins build job configuration, and then it echoes those two variables out, and in the stage three, it prints that test file. Now, of course, that test file is not here because we aren't hooked up to GitHub yet. But let's see, you'll follow along what I'm trying to do there. All right, so I will write this Jenkins test.txt. That's the file that eventually we'll use. But of course, the script will fail right now. All right, that's my pipeline script, and I paste the entire script right here, right? That's the script here. Those are the stages that we were seeing. I'll just save this. And now you should be able to run this quickly with these two parameters. Feel free to change here or do whatever you need to do in there. Now the job is running. I go here, take a quick look at the console output. Now this tells me exactly what happens with the job. So it ran, it printed out the hello world, it printed out this test file name. However, when it went about doing the cat on that text file, of course, it did not find the file, and that's why you're seeing the failure here. So let's address this. We eventually what we want to do is actually take that file from GitHub. So now we are ready to move forward and do this setup. We want to, so the way we hook up Jenkins and GitHub is we create a pair of private and public keys, and then we add our public key in GitHub and the private key in the Jenkins credentials, and that's how both of them will be able to talk. So what we'll now do is let me stop this. Let me break this. Now our Jenkins server is stopped, and of course, if I'm going to do anything here, that's not going to work because we have just stopped it. Now I'll use the ssh-keygen command to generate the pair, the private public key pair. I do this now. Just select the defaults, but keep in mind that this is your private key. You will need to cat this out and use this. You just copy this somewhere because you'll need to paste it when you create your Jenkins credentials. So just keep it safe somewhere, and then you want to cat out the public key as well. And this public key we will need in GitHub. Make sure you're copying the entire thing right from SSH RSA. That's important. All right, that's our public key. So now let's go to GitHub. The repo that we are going to be working with is this one right here. That's our repo, the test repo. So what we'll do is we will go ahead and go into the settings, and we'll deploy a key. There's a key already sitting. I'll just delete this one, and we'll add a new key. And the new key, we need our public key here, like I said, that's our public key. Just call it Jenkins, right? And you can allow write access here, but for now, I'm not going to do that. Just make it a read only here, so that Jenkins is able to pull but not able to push any code here. But that's okay. That's not needed for this demo. All right. So one part is done. Now for the second part, we'll need our Jenkins server back up. So let's bring it back up. Now Jenkins is up and running. Now what we will do is, all right, just reload this once. All right, so Jenkins is getting ready to work. So let it start working, and then we'll go ahead and modify. All right, we'll go ahead and modify the job that we ran. Now let me log on. I'll say keep me signed in. Let's log on to Jenkins here. Okay, we are back in. That's our job. I'm opening it up in, to configure. All right, configure. All right. All right, so that's our job. What we'll now do is instead of using this pipeline script, I'm going to do a pipeline script from SCM, and the SCM is get here and the repository. Now, let's do this. We want to add a credential here. It won't be able to access the repository because it does not have the credentials. So let's add the credentials, and the credential that you're going to use is this guy. All right, the SSH user name and private key. And this, what you'll do is just add an ID. I'll just say GitHub, and description, it's the GitHub SSH key. Username is going to be my repository, so it's my username. It'll be your repository username. Now this is where you add that private key that you copied from the Jenkins server earlier. So what I'll do is say add and just paste that entire thing here. Notice the end RSA private key and the begin. You want to make sure that you're copying the entire thing. And you have this. Now you need the URL of the repository. Now the repository URL is, if you go here, you see this. Now you have this HTTPS URL by default. That's not what you're doing. You will need the SSH URL, which is this. So take this, and this should go away as soon as we select this. Yeah, that's done. So that tells you that Jenkins is able to connect. Jenkins is happy and it's able to connect to the GitHub repository. Now, the master branch, we are on master. We want this Groovy script in Jenkins folder. There is a hello world.groovy. That's what we will go after. So I'll say Jenkins file, hello world.groovy. That's our Groovy file. So now if I just build with parameters, it will, and see this Jenkins file, if you look at the code is just going to, clone this repository, run this Groovy script, and then just cat the contents of this file out. That's the file that you have provided here. I'll just say build, let it run, and I do a console output. You're seeing the pipeline running. All right, let it run. So yeah, this time it ran successfully. It printed the message out, printed the test file name out, printed the contents of the test file. As you can see, the contents of the test file are right here. That's our test file. Those are the contents that you're seeing printed here, and then this is the message that the Groovy script pasted, and we finished successfully. So that's it, guys. Hope the session helped. This was a quick demo on how do you spin up Jenkins really quickly on Google Cloud platform. Hope you like the session, and please, if you like the session, please give me thumbs up, give your likes, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.